I think this is a good time to move it to Jackie Brown.
I think so.
We just saw that movie again because you said when we talked about this.
Yeah.
This was kind of the one on your list of I
wasn't sure. It was one of my first Tarantino movies. It was quite different from Reservoir Dogs, which was one of the first ones I saw. I think I watched this one after Inglourious Basterds 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, completely different feel. It's back in the crime genre. And I just don't think I was ready to watch it.
No, yeah, I understand. And you know what? This was the last one I saw of his.
Right.
It was the last one. Once I got the box set, I'm going to show it off. I'm going to show it off now. Box set. I got the box set. It was the last of his movies that I got to see. And I got to say, when I first saw it, I was impressed.
Yeah.
And in terms of thinking of it in chronological order, Jackie Brown is a great movie to come out with right after Pulp Fiction, like 3 years later. And Tarantino said in an interview with, I think it was Charlie Rose, or no, it was a different guy, and he said, I knew I was put on this earth for a reason, and I knew I wasn't going to be taken off of this earth until I had fulfilled that reason. Once I made Pulp Fiction, I started looking over my shoulder a little bit more, because I wasn't sure if I was done, if that was the one movie. So even he knew that Pulp Fiction was good, but then when he made Jackie Brown, I think that was the best thing, because it changed two things. It changed how he was going to be doing the crime genre. And it changed how he was going to, what kind of films he was going to attack. Because he was getting more money now. Because he was a little bit more, like, people were starting to notice him. He just won an Oscar for screenwriting. And this was the movie, I think, that established that he was going to be someone that tackled different genres of films, of styles of film that were kind of lost.
Or he could do the same style in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did the crime genre in three complete different ways.
Yeah.
Because the first one is professionals just doing a job.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, Pulp Fiction, is you're looking for vindication, you're looking for redemption. How do I get out?
Mm-hmm. And
then Jackie Brown is kind of that same feel of the whole how do I get out, but at the same time, it's more everyone's working for their own purpose.
Yeah. And there's definitely a reason for everyone to be involved in this. We established that. I mean, what I love about this movie, though, is it's not about the event itself. The events that occur, they happen pretty fast. They do. All about the build up to those. Mm-hmm. It's a slow movie. I will. It's quick in the fact that the dialogue exchanges are very, very good and they're intense. Focused. Yeah. But they are. It is his slower movie. It's not his longest, but it is a movie that I think even good Tarantino fans can have a problem with just saying to themselves, I'm going to sit down and watch Jackie Brown today, because it's a movie you have to listen to, and it's not one it's not as iconic.
It's not not really action driven either. Mm-hmm. There are a few key events, but those happen more towards the end of the movie.
I forgot actually how this movie ended with the death of with how Ordell dies. I was like, I forgot how he died, and when I saw it, I was just like, oh wow, that was kind of fast.
It was he's gone.
But I don't think that makes it a bad movie. I think that's
very realistic.
I think it's very underrated. I think this is next to The Hateful Eight. I think this is his most underrated film, because it's like a 7.3, I think, on IMDb or something.
It should be higher.
It should be.
I mean, the first half hour of the movie, which you said right off, is just dedicated to Ordell's business, getting the feel for what he does and how he does everything.
Mm-hmm. I will say that Ordell isn't isn't as strong a villain as most things, or an antagonist. But yeah, continue.
Well, he doesn't need to be. He's just there as a figure. People are still threatened by him. He's still doing his business. What I like about it is you never meet Mr. Walker. There's this shadowy figure in the background who's never touched. Even at the end of the movie, you're like, well, is she safe? Because did Ordell tell Walker? Walker hung up, but you don't know. There's still it could continue. We have no idea.
Yeah. That's actually I didn't consider that. That's actually, and it kind of makes sense why she's driving off in kind of a melancholy state. It's kind of the same thing. I guess it's also like she doesn't want to leave Bondsman. I mean, it's kind of a sad kind of departing for
Max Cherry.
Max Cherry, there you go.
Yeah. He's stuck in his honest job. He won't take more than his fee, and she just conned a con man.
Yeah, I think she definitely wants that chance to be like she's got kind of a bad situation. Like she doesn't get paid a lot. She doesn't have much, so she wants that chance. But at the same time, she wants to be
with a decent guy.
and in a decent life. And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of one of those moments where you're like, maybe it was too far for her, or she's not going to be
Again,
able to reach that.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a hopeless romantic.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you.
Oh, I know. So, I can see her kind of going full circle. She needs to go out and venture the world a little bit, because she never had that chance in her youth. So she needs to go explore the world, but she'll come back.
Yeah, I think Pam Grier does a really great job.
She does a great job.
I always forget, like, she's a really great actress, and I think she does such amazing work in this movie.
Both of the, for her character, Jackie Brown, and for Max Cherry, both of the characters, what I love about them is the subtleties to them. Because it's just small facial changes between when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're scared, even.
Yeah, I think I forget the actor's name again, put it in, but he definitely deserved a nomination for this movie. And
he did a great job.
And you're right, it's a very subtle performance, and I that's where I really respected the subtleties in a film. I will say what I really love is how minor characters in this movie are given a lot, like Lewis especially, because Robert Downey Jr. Robert De Niro. I really want to see Robert Downey Jr. in a Tarantino movie. Well, kind of won't get into the other one, but anyway. But Robert De Niro asked a lot of questions of DiCaprio about how he wanted to address this character, and Tarantino was like, "Oh, great," because he doesn't approach this character as a one-note character, and I was a little nervous because I knew how it ended with him, and I was a little like, "How did that happen?" When it happens, I have no problem with it because it makes a lot of sense.
It does. Well, we were even talking about this earlier because when they're in the car before, you brought up the point that he's a professional. He wants to get the job done. And
from a different life. He's older. Yeah,
he's older. And then I said, also, she's blurring the music, and he hates dancing. That's why he hates dancing. He hates the noise. So she's pissing him off in two ways.
Yeah, and there's also that scene where he's sitting down and letting Simone do her show. Yeah. So there's a time and a place, I think, for those moments. Yeah. When he's with Ordell, he's all business. Or he's focusing on that. When
he also saw the dead guy.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows what's at stake, and when he's just like kind of rocking back and forth, he's enjoying himself and having those moments. But he separates those. And Melody doesn't do that. Like, she doesn't
getting high at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. She's from a different era. She's kind of like from the surfer girl kind of thing, that attitude, and she doesn't address the work as important because she just thinks they're both slackers. But they do a lot of tough work. Like, he does a lot of stuff. Ordell and Lewis went to prison, and it's a hard job to be working. It's like criminal life is not an easy job.
Ordell made $500,000 selling guns. That's not half bad.
It's kind of like saying, it's like, I know it's a bad rep, but you
immoral or not, completely out of the question. Yeah. He's making money.
Exactly. And, when someone's making money, you can't fault them for much. Well, I guess you can. I mean, I'm not going to say what criminals do is totally warranted. Don't do crimes, kids.
Stay in school, get good grades, get a well-paying job, be a lawyer, doctor.
If you get screwed like you did with Jackie Brown at 45, then we can talk about maybe doing something, swindling some drugs, some gun dealers. But there was a lot in Jackie Brown I was glad to see. I think it's a really great film to come out of the gate again after Pulp Fiction. That's not an easy feat.
That had to be another high bar, and I think that.
And it didn't stop him from making movies.
No. I think that if he had put Kill Bill out after Pulp Fiction, it would have scored lower. Anything. The next movie after Pulp Fiction was going to score lower than it should have, no matter what it was.
Yeah. I mean, the internet wasn't as huge as it was nowadays, but I mean, at the same time, word of mouth was going to definitely say, and they were like, "Oh, it wasn't Pulp Fiction," and that's a terrible thing. Because then I think people were like coming out of Pulp Fiction saying, "Well, that wasn't Reservoir Dogs, but I liked it." So
you can't do that with any of these movies. They're all iconic in their own way.